Super BS. Well, here we are back from the dead and ready to break some bread. It's I, baby boy Brank, part of Super BS, a podcast about video games mostly. And today I'm joined by someone we like to call the despised one. Reveal yourself, despised one.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I'm despised. Everyone just despise me.
We despise you.
Just your friendly neighborhood Josh here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Jank.
yeah, that's it.
In a different language, Josh is the other language word for Jank, which is the much more well-known name here on the planet Zorth.
It's true. The Latin translation of
Latin
Josh is Jank.
translation.
We all know that.
And we're joined also by our friendly neighborhood. Who is our friendly neighborhood third member who is supposed to reveal himself?
I'm the friendly neighborhood Jim Self.
Jim Self. That's who we were hoping. We replaced Gerald Glassford with Jim Self, as everybody likes.
Or Jim himself, as he is known.
Jim. He's known as
circles.
Jim. Neighborhood Jim. Okay, we are almost there. We were watching the Oscars all day and all night. We all have been watching every single Oscar winner. Gerald, give me your top 5 hits for the Oscars real quick before we get into gaming, because we got to talk about all this stuff.
Well, we are actually recording the Cosmos while that was going on.
So you're watching at the same time.
Dune Part 2 winning 2 awards, which is still not as much as it should have won. That's number 1. The Substance winning for Best Hair and Makeup. That's number 2. The Substance, Demi Moore losing out on Best Actress is number 3. She got robbed. Dune Part 2 losing out on Best Picture is number 4. And Denis Villeneuve being vilified and hated by the Hollywood community for getting dissed on both Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 is number 5. Any other questions?
What is The Substance? Did you watch it?
You have not seen The Substance or heard The Substance?
I just saw Demi Moore melting, right? Is that the one?
It's a body horror movie.
Oh, I hate body horror.
Acclaimed. The actual director, she was nominated for best director, but of course Denis Villeneuve wasn't. But basically, it's an aging superstar, athletic. Back in the days of aerobic shows and whatnot, fitness shows. She's a fitness guru. She's aging and whatnot, but she takes a substance that allows her to. Well, her body for 1 week. Her body splits in half, and for 1 week she gets to play a younger version of herself, played by Margaret Qualley, who did an outstanding job herself. Dennis Quaid is the sleazy executive, and all of this. Yeah, absolutely a brilliant movie in its own right. If you don't pick Dune Part 2, you pick The Substance. But yes, it is a very gross movie at times, plus a ending as everything comes together because of the fact that Demi Moore goes a little bit overboard. Margaret Qualley's character, the fact that you're only allowed a week in that separate body, obviously problems arise. And there's a big climactic scene at the end involving lots of stuff. And
so what happens to the other part?
Yeah.
It's just like a pile of it.
Well, let's just spoil the end of the movie. So tell us exactly, scene by scene, the last scene of Substance.
It just splits open.
Oh,
okay.
So again, I guess the way I could describe it is if you saw the Conan O'Brien monologue last night, or whenever he did the joke on The Substance, where he came out of Demi Moore and then he left a shoe behind in Demi Moore, so they had to pull out Demi Moore. There you go. That's just basically what it is. But yes, it's literally just a body within a body.
How much better would that movie have been if Randy Quaid would have been the actor instead of Dennis Quaid from Christmas Vacation and the Vacation series? That's the role he played.
Dennis Quaid was actually really, really good in the movie. I got to give him credit. But yeah, the movie is just brilliant. Dune Part 2 was brilliant. But yeah, they both got They both got janked.
And
To use
Jank,
the jank vernacular.
what
on
was
the
your
show.
number one Conan joke from the show? I know you were watching. You probably watched it 5 times, I'm guessing, last night in a row.
At least
You couldn't
And
because
then-
Hulu, Hulu screwed up on it.
Wait, what do you mean? You couldn't even watch it like after you watched the one time, or what?
Hulu went dark. On it.
Oh
whoa.
no! It's like when Microsoft dropped Mixer during E3 that one year.
Yeah.
Because Hulu was the official streaming partner along with ABC, and Hulu 2/3 of the way through, because it went overboard. You know, as Oscars always do, they went over there a lot of time, and Hulu didn't account for that and went black. And so I think they also, I was watching a show, they said as of last morning or early in the morning, they still hadn't had a replay up yet on it. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yesterday was when it aired. So would have it been this morning, right? So you still can't watch it today?
You may be able to now, but at the
okay.
time, he was reporting on it because he recorded his show like at 3-hour time in the morning. Yeah.
Well, we love the Oscars here, but what we don't love is things going dark. That's why I've been living, and I know I talked about this a little bit last week, but I've been living in Hawaii. I've been living that aloha lifestyle in Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I am now 21 or 22 hours into the game. I have almost finished every side task. I have
So you hate it,
I
right?
felt,
Oh,
and I
hate
felt
it.
proud of myself. I did 3 hours in Avowed last week. Forget that.
Dude, yeah, your 3 hours in Avowed, they mean nothing to my 21. No, I mean, that's good. The Avowed's great. But yeah, I want to, admonish this game and tell everybody, if you want to play a PS2 style open world game where you're just running around having fun with modern quality of life improvements, play Pirate Yakuza or play Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I just finished, without spoiling much, there is a live action, there's like a side quest that leads to like a live action dating show, and it is really just hilarious in all the Yakuza fashion where
There's an issue with a cat, I think, that you have to also solve too as well by dressing it drag.
I haven't gotten now. Yes, I know
there's
you're
a
talking-
pirate coliseum thing.
There's a lot. I love all the mini games. Like I've been doing a lot of the mini golf, which is good.
I'm just gonna say, if you're into weird and a whole bunch of stuff to do, go check it out, and then also check out the substance because you're into weird stuff, anyways.
Oh
You did
man,
both in one weekend. I mean, why
it's
not?
it's a dual showcase. Okay, well, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii and the substance, which they fit together thematically. But because I've talked about that so much, and I will talk about it one more time when I finish it, Jank, aka Despised One, you've been playing something that only despised people play, because I feel like we haven't heard about it in a very long time. What have you been playing?
I actually sank several more hours than I care to admit into Pal World, and
You've been doinking around in there. What do you even do in Pal World, man? I played it for like 7 hours and I fell off.
So you don't see it in the beginning of the game, but as you go and you push, like, you know how in those big open world games you push like the shadow away and it uncovers more of the map.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing that, I'm seeing there's all these like little optional boss fights and bounty tokens and things you can do across the map. So I'm sitting there and I'm just fighting all these bosses. I've done one, like, I guess you call them gym fights or whatever. They're syndicate members in these towers. You have to go around and fight them. That's the main part of the game. But for the most part, I've just been exploring because I got that OCD, and once I see something, I have to uncover everything. So I've been walking around basically just capturing pals, fighting the big boss guys, doing the bounties, and I'm at level 40 right now, so I'm doing all right, man. There's still things that are like way out of my my level range.
Okay.
Because it's like remember in Assassin's Creed Origins how there are different parts of the map that had like different
levels, yep.
levels,
different like
on
zones that were level not gated, but they had like level ranges that you were supposed to be in to go to them.
Yeah, and you could go there, but you die pretty quick. So the one thing about Pal World, it has that like Souls-like thing where like if you die, you don't respawn with your stuff.
Okay.
So you have to go, and your stuff actually like ends up staying like where you died. So if you spent hours like crafting armor and stuff, you have to pray that you died by one of the fast travel centers, or else you're going to end up like walking a long way. And then if it gets dark and it's cold, you die before you even get back to your stuff. So it's a whole It's a whole thing, man. It's a pretty clever system they made here, and the more I play it, the more I think to myself, like, it is not really like Pokemon at all. Like, minus
Okay.
minus the little the throwing the balls and stuff to capture them, but it's kind of its own thing, and that
That's why Nintendo had to sue them, because it was
yeah,
too much of its own thing that used
right.
similar features. No, I'm messing with
But
you.
that, like,
Dude,
leads me to my next thing, though. Like, have you seen any of the updates on the Pal World Nintendo
lawsuit?
lawsuit?
No, I haven't. What's going on?
So it turns out that all the stuff that Nintendo patented they're patenting things post lawsuit.
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew that a lot of the patents came out after Pal World dropped. They patented
No.
many of the game.
After they filed the lawsuit.
Oh, they added more patents too?
Yeah, the patents went through after the lawsuit went through.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. But they filed the patents in, like, so Power World came out in, I want to say, January of, was it last year? I think it was last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lawsuits were started in June or July, or no, sorry, the
Yeah.
patents were in June or July, and then the
And
lawsuit was announced in September. So it is crazy that they're getting away with potentially patenting ideas after a game came out.
After.
That which is really messed up. And now it's going through now, so it's like it was extra like.
Yeah, and on top of that, though, they're now patenting things here in America and hoping to get the game, file a separate lawsuit here. But I think
nice.
they filed over 200 different patents, and I think only 3 of them were given to them by the U.S. Patent Office.
Okay.
So I don't know what that's going to look like, but the more you think about it, though, the more ridiculous this all sounds, and I don't think Pal World's definitely probably going to have to make a few changes in the game, but I don't see the game getting banned at any point here.
You gotta love Nintendo, man. They're just the good guys in all of this, so they are definitely the good guys. Don't ever think that when they see a fan-made game and they demand it be taken down that they're the bad guys. They are the good guys.
Real Robin Hood.
But no, it is like gross, right? Like this reminds me so much of how when Shadow of Mordor came out, WB patented the Nemesis system, and how now that we've seen with Monolith close last week and all the other stuff that happened, it's like there's a good chance the Nemesis system is just maybe not going to be used again till either 2036 or WB finds another studio, right?
Or somebody tries to buy into it. Somebody may buy access to it,
That's what WB wants, but they probably want a lot of money for it. Like I feel like, because I had heard the rumor was that WB wanted to sell off their gaming studios, but not sell it with the IP. So like they wanted to keep Mortal Kombat, and then you could buy NetherRealm, but you'd have to license the Mortal Kombat license from them to make the game. So it's like, who even wants to do that? Who wants to pay millions of dollars for a development studio that can't even make the games they're known for?
Yeah, they're putting everything behind a wall, and at that point, with the cost of bringing those IPs back to life, like it's too much. Like the profit's not big enough to do something like that, and so because of that, we're not going to see a lot of these games or a lot of these properties in video game form probably for a long time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that WB just, honestly, they sell off all their studios and they close. Like I really think at this point they don't seem to know how to manage video game studios. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, but like Arkham Knight was the last big WB game, or I guess maybe Shadow of War was probably the last one that was decent, right? I think their last one that I loved was Arkham Knight. But yeah.
I mean, you would also consider the Mortal Kombats, though.
Kombat I forgot. 1. Yeah, NetherRealm. Yeah, those are all great games. Mortal Kombat 1 was great. I think we even talked about it
except for on
Switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So does Warner Brothers own Rocksteady?
Yes. Yeah, that's why the Suicide Squad game like pretty much bankrupted them, because they lost like $1 billion or something on it.
Because there was rumor floating around too that Rocksteady had actually been deep in development on a Batman Beyond game.
So I don't know about that. There is a rumor that they are now working on a Batman game again. So I don't know how true that is, or I don't know all the stuff about that. But that is what the rumor is Rocksteady is back to working on Batman again. We'll see, right? Like this whole thing is so new. But yeah, anyways, all that aside, all of these needless lawsuits, all these patenting of game mechanics, it's very frustrating, right? I hope Pal World doesn't get hurt. They're a a Japanese studio fractional in the size of Game Freak and the Nintendo company, right? But we actually have way more Pokemon to talk about today because our news is going to be pretty Pokemon heavy. Before we get there, though, Gerald, you got some numbers you want to share with some games that came out and a couple corrections, which we hate.
A couple corrections. Well, actually, I'll do the good first.
Okay.
The good first is that Monster Hunter Wilds, we did talk about it a little bit on the Pop Culture Cosmos. Monster Hunter Wilds reporting big success in the sea and slew of video games that was released in February. If you had Monster Hunter Wilds at the top of your bingo card as far as the top seller for that month, or what ultimately will be the top seller of the month, because it came out later in the month, but it will probably over the course of 2025 be the top seller of the month. 1.3 million concurrent users were reported on Steam as a high. And that, to me, for a game that just came out, that's a really good sign. I know that people have been talking about the death knell for the industry. I know if you guys want to go into it, especially the mess for building games, discs, the discs of games, where do they come from? Most of them are made in Mexico. So that's going to be of concern to people in the industry as well. I'm not trying to play any political stuff on that. I'm just saying if you do it, and if it happens, there's going to be a cause and effect as far as for gamers is concerned. I'll just leave it at that. If China and Japan are involved, we talked about this before, there's going to be a cause and effect on that. But be that as it may, 1.3 million concurrent on Steam is a really big number. They do need to be congratulated on it. Josh and I talked about how we tried Monster Hunter and it never really connected with us for various reasons. But I'm really happy for it. Are you gonna play Monster Hunter Wilds?
I probably will not. I almost got FOMO and picked it up this weekend, but I need to get some other things done in life, and I'm spending a lot of time being a pirate right now in Hawaii. So I've got to follow my first and foremost dreams, which is funny. I actually hate pirate content, but the Yakuza series knows my heart too well, and I will keep playing their games. No, Monster Hunter Wilds.
Is it really pirate content if he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt half the time?
Oh man, when the way I dress him, he's a pirate all the time. But no, you could make him dress as a cowboy or whatever you want. I will say, like Monster Hunter Wilds, the positive praise that's received means that I probably at some point will check it out. But
it is the highest rated game right now on Metacritic for the year, I believe, at a 90.
Oh yeah, and besides Call of Duty, which will obviously be the top seller, it probably will be the second best-selling game this year. Monster Hunter World was phenomenally successful, but it's just the lack of RPG elements and I've never been a gear grind person. It's one of the problems I have with the Diablo series and even Destiny. I just don't find that an exciting, rewarding gameplay loop. It's like, hey, go fight the guy 5 times,
right?
Oh, no, there is. I mean, there's single player, and they made it better, kind of like the Dark Souls series and stuff, where now you can get like AI helpers for a lot of the bosses.
Oh, okay.
But it's still, though, it's made to be played with friends. And from what I've heard, right, because again, I haven't played it, the online is still as insufferable as like a Elden Ring or Dark Souls style game where you have to like read wikis and stuff to figure out really how to do it all the time, right? Like you're not going to parse it on your own, realistically. So yeah, I don't know. Monster Hunter Wilds, I think it's more likely I go to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 out of the big February games at some point, because that is one that people seem to love.
The only thing is that's also a 90 on Metacritic as well, but that one's just, I don't know if I could get by those eyes, man. Those eyes.
Oh, they're dreamy, man. To me, they are the dreamiest eyes I've ever seen. That's honestly how I felt about like the Starfield faces when they came out. I felt like the faces were a little bit rough in those too. For those of you who are watching.
Sir Jank, I will challenge thee to a duel.
Yeah. That is very good Polish/French accent. I appreciate that, Sir Gerald of Glassford. Okay. So we did that talk.
That game is also going to do financial run because that one didn't take a whole lot to make either. That one I think is under $100 million production cost. So one, it probably will make a profit as well.
Yeah, it's made in Poland, so I would hope they didn't hit $100 million in a Polish game. I know they
I
spent
think
like
it's
5 years on
substantially
it.
less than that. I think it is
Yeah.
substantially less than that, but I don't remember the number off my head, but I know it's small comparative to some of the other titles we've talked about. Concord, so the others that we talked about. Yeah.
So the development budget, people are saying, is $41 million. So they definitely made all their money back and then a lot more. Okay, because I think they sold 1 million or something in the first week. So 1 million I think it was 70. I think it was a full price game, even with 30%. I mean, you're talking about.
So if that ends up like the horror movie of the video game genre, where they're lower budget but high returns, especially early on, there you go. Absolutely.
I think the problem is you're going to see more games than moving to like Eastern Europe and Asia, where they can actually afford the budgets, because the cost of a developer over here is just way too expensive. You said there were 2 corrections, though. What are what are you correcting us on?
First one is for Josh on the Pop Culture Gospels yesterday. I had said that Daredevil Born Again, which comes out this week, has it's going to lay out episodes of 3. I was incorrect. It's 2. It's Andor season 2 that's going to give you in 3, because they want to do it like in a 4-part type deal. So Andor, when that comes out, that one's going to do it in episodes of 3. There is a 2-episode premiere for Daredevil Born Again coming up here this week. So,
Jank, how dumb do you feel? Just on a scale of 10
I didn't
to 10.
say that. I didn't say it. It was Gerald over here.
It was me.
God,
no, it's not me.
I forget.
But the second one, I should have checked. As a journalist, I should have checked my resources on that, but I didn't. But on our episode last week for the best year in video games, which is still 2007, drop. Yes. I wanted to go ahead and say JSJ mentioned GTA 4. So I got caught up in the GTA 4 biz and all that. It was announced for 2007 release, but I should have remembered, because that's when my guys were threatened at the game store, was in 2008, April of 2008. I believe.
Gerald, you fool. How could you make us all look like fools like that?
Delegitimize this podcast.
Just to show you how stacked 2007 is over your meager offerings, you two. Can I stress meager? Meager offerings,
barely.
you two. I'm going to throw out just a little ditty named Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, because we're going to be talking about Pokemon. I will throw that out there instead.
I had Pokemon Yellow in mine. Okay, so
yeah, there you go.
There you go. But mine's better. Mine sold more. So there you go.
And I had Pokemon.
One of the biggest selling games, sets of games. They always count it as 1 instead of 2. When they do that on the MPD sales or Circana or whatever it is called right now, they always count it as 1 full entity, even though it's 2 separate games.
Yeah, that is strange. It's kind of like a cheat code, right? Like it reminded me of they have a Fire Emblem that came out on, I want to say 3DS, called Fire Emblem Fates. And it was very frustrating that you had to choose one of 2 games. And then there was a 3rd DLC. And then Nintendo did the perfect Nintendo thing that they did, which is they sold a limited quantity collector's edition where all 3 games were on 1 cartridge, and it was the only way to get all 3 games in one place. I still, to this day, hate that game because I couldn't get that cartridge. So, like, the only other option would have been to buy the game 3 times, essentially. Oh, that's Nintendo doing cool Nintendo stuff. Well, anyways, those corrections, Jank, you look like a fool after that, man. The fact that
my gosh, I didn't say
2007, still the best year ever for gaming, hands down.
I can't wait till we grow this audience past 8 so we can end up making.
I didn't even throw the orange box. Remember, we were talking about the orange box last week. I didn't throw that out at you.
Well, it's not. It's going to be a top 5 battle royale. When we get more people, we will do this again with different years. We will not be able to choose the same years. And I promise you, even whenever we get back to the choosing the same years, we get to 2007, it will not win once we get the modern vote. The modern vote is with me in 2017. Because it was a great year. Okay.
Because you're going to try to hit up everyone under 15.
Yeah, well, that's my age. Yeah. I mean, that's how old I am. I skate with them every day because I'm a skateboarder and I'm 15 years old. Everybody knows Baby Boy Brank. So before we get to the big news, the Pokemon Directs, the things that people all care about. They don't care about these Oscars. They don't care about numbers. They care about Pokemons. Everybody knows that. The #1 game on the planet. Before we get to that, by the time you listen to this, some crazy, unless you're watching us live, Some crazy news is happening. Tony Hawk 3+4 is coming out. Now, we don't know if it's coming out now and you could play it, or if it's
Tony Hawk 7?
Tony Hawk 7. It's 3+4. Yeah.
3+4,
it's
yeah.
a math equation, Tony Hawk. So you have to figure out the math, and that gives you the number. Honestly, Final Fantasy should start doing that. It should be Final Fantasy 10+7 should be the next one.
A clever way to reboot the franchise. There's Final Fantasy 10-1, or 10-9.
We're almost there, man. With Roman numerals, that's kind of how they are written. So it is the 1 before the 20. Okay, so everybody knows that it's a funny Roman numeral joke. But yeah, Tony Hawk 3+4. It's coming out. I cannot wait. I never played Tony Hawk 3 back in the day. I love Tony Hawk 4 on PS2. Did either of you gentlemen play those games of skateboarding and doodlery?
Heck yeah, I did. PlayStation and the one on Nintendo 64.
Which one did you like more, 3 or 4?
I played the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but as I heard, I was watching Sifted. Give them a shout out. That channel.
I don't know what Sifted is, but I'm watching every day now. We know you're listening.
Coming up pretty soon. Yes, Skate is coming out pretty soon, and that's going to be a big one to watch. How that does may bode well or not so well for Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like the fan bases are pretty different. Like, I never played the Skate series at all, and I bought quite a few of the Tony Hawks. I think the only one I didn't really buy were like the Wii ones and 5, because 5 was supposed to be like heart garbage. That was the one they did just to keep.
Yeah, but it goes back to the
entry.
Sorry, what was the question? Ride?
Oh no, sorry. Was Tony Hawk Ride with a skateboard a mainline entry, or was that its own thing?
I don't know. Like, I fell off.
That was the mainline entry. That had to be a mainline entry.
Wii one, right? I want to say that was the Wii one that came with the skateboard.
It was on.
No, it was all the platforms.
On all 3 of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I'm thinking of Tony Hawk Downhill Jam. One of them was only on Wii. But anyways, the last one I played was 8. Which is the series is super weird. So they had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they had Thug 1 and 2. I played Thug 1, never played 2. Then they had Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Then they had Tony Hawk 8. And then they had these other ones that I don't know where they came in the timeline, Ride and Downhill Jam. And then they had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, which is the one that's supposed to be atrocious. That was the one that Activision made so that they could keep the licensing deal with Tony Hawk, right? Like, they had to make a certain amount of Tony Hawk games. So it was hot garbage from what I heard. 8 was still pretty fun, man. It was a 360 game. Like, I turned that one on for a hot minute. I do wish I would have played Thug 2. I'm hoping I get the option in the future because I love that series. But yeah, I cannot wait for it to happen, and I'm excited. But Janky, I'm going to let you take this one. There was a lot of news, and I'm going to play some of this video in the background so you guys can watch at your pleasure, okay, while we talk about this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Pokemon's Direct, you guys' favorite thing. Okay, so Janky, take it away. What happened?
All right, so we had Pokemon Day last week. It was on Thursday, and this was the I forget what anniversary was this for Pokemon. This was I don't remember. Anyways, so we had the announcement. Everyone's expecting news of certain Pokemon reboots, but that is probably gonna wait till the Switch 2 comes out. So we have Pokemon Legends Z to A talked about. I think it was announced already, but what are your thoughts?
That was their big one. Yeah,
that was their big one. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Pokemon Legends series? So, Branky, I know you played the original one and you loved it. So
I loved it, man. I didn't finish it. I got to the very last boss and he was incredibly difficult, but I had played probably 30, if not 40 hours of it. It is probably my favorite Pokemon game, honestly, at this point. Outside of the nostalgia I have for Blue, it's the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game since.
Yeah. I mean, it had a lot more. It felt more like an open world RPG than the other ones did, especially like the Sword and Shield one. I haven't played the Scarlet and Violet. My kids have. By the way, it's the 25th anniversary of Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Z to A looks cool. I mean, it looks like there's a pretty big world to stomp around in, and the just being able to throw the Pokeballs, like walk around and throw them, like there's something about that mechanic, and maybe that's where Pokemon saying Power World copied them. I think that's kind of what they're getting at. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely brought something to Pokemon that has not been done before. I think, and we've talked about this a little bit off air, but the one thing that has always been missing from Pokemon is a good story and good dialogue. And whether or not they'll ever get to that point, it's hard to say. But I'm liking what I'm seeing of this game for sure.
I think it's neat. And JSJ wrote that he'll play that game on Switch too. JSJ, knowing the Pokemon game company or whatever, Game Freaks, I have a feeling it's going to run the same on Switch too. I'm hoping, like you, that we get the benefit of the improved hardware. But this company, I mean, I really enjoyed it. But Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are probably two of the worst developed games on Switch in terms of just like quality of the creation and bugs and graphics and all that stuff. And looking at this trailer right now, while it does look fun, it doesn't look very powerful. I mean, it looks like it's like a slightly up-res 3DS game is what I'm like seeing. And that's not the end of the world, right? But it's just, I just wouldn't go in with high expectations.
Though. Like I mean, that's what it's always looked like this. So I don't know if they ever have any ambition to make something that looks anything closer to like a traditional JRPG.
I don't think it needs to look like photorealistic or anything, but I just feel like, I mean, you can even see it in this trailer they're showing us. It's a little bit framey. The resolution quality isn't very great. A lot of the textures look bad. Most of the Pokemon like kind of move at a weird frame rate. I think the problem with this series, and like, believe me, I'm going to play this game, right? Like I loved the last one. I'm not a huge fan of the idea that it takes place in modern day France. Yuck. But anyways, I just don't love how like they have 900 Pokemon at this point. How are they going to make all the animations for all their movesets, right? And that's kind of my big issue is like every time you see it, when you see them attack, it's like they have to like do like a move, but then the move goes over the enemy. And that's because they're just using the same moves from a lot of people. Like right there, you saw Tepig roll out, right? That's great.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that rollout was one animation that they used for like, 10 of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very interesting game. Like I can't wait for it. I'm very excited. Like I loved Arceus, but like I said, there's a couple things that I'm bummed out that I just don't see them ever fixing. And a lot of it's just because of how bloated the game is now with Pokemon. Like you just can't make a high quality game with 900 characters that all have different animations, right? Like that's just insane. Most games have like maybe a dozen that have special animations, right? Like there's just not that many things out there that have like this many animation cycles and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it, Pokemon is one of the very few games that gets away with doing the same things over and over and over again. Like we've seen a lot of games, just in the past 5 years who have tried to do the same thing they've always done and have gotten, pretty poor reception for it. But Pokemon is the one that just keeps going and going and going, and people keep buying and buying and buying.
Well, it's the breadwinner, man. I mean, we're going to talk a lot more about Pokemon. This was the big announcement for us because we like games, but they have like a mobile app. I want to say they have a few things, and we'll go over quite a few of those. And you even want to discuss the cards. Before we get into all that, I'm noticing that there's a war going on in our comment section about the Oscars.
Adrian Brody,
we won't tolerate Adrian Brody hate speech here, okay? He's a real tough guy. Did you watch King Kong? That guy is somebody I wouldn't want to mess
Predators
with.
too. He took on a predator, all right?
Isn't it funny that they made him like an action guy?
And Harvey Weinstein.
No, because that's when his career fell off a cliff, and he was just banking on the fact he was still trying to get any job he could back in early in the last decade, because his career had fallen off, and he was just riding off of the fact that he was an Academy Award winner.
The pianist.
But his career has rebounded, of course, with the Brutalist, so that's good to see. So.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny when they were trying to sell him as an action star. I mean, he doesn't have the frame for what they were trying to make him appear to be.
No,
I do like him as an actor, but he definitely feels like this character I feel like could bulk up for the roles, but Oscar Isaacs, where when he first came on the scene, it's like he's like an Oscar actor, right? Like the stuff that he's in. And then he gets in Star Wars and you're like, what are you doing, man? And then he's Moon Knight and you're like, man, how the great have fallen, right? The first time I ever saw him was the Inside Llewyn Davis, right? The Coen Brothers film. And I was like, wow, he's incredible. But yeah, it is interesting time. So I don't want to devolve from this Pokemon conversation, okay? Because we're all about evolution here. Jank, what was your most next excited thing? Do you want to talk about the mobile app, the Pokemon Unite? You want to talk about the champions? Do you want to talk about Pokemon Sleep?
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go down the list here. So they announced Pokemon Champions. There's a new player versus player title. I think it's on mobile and consoles, where you're able to bring Pokemon in from the Pokemon Home app and actually have battles with people. And I don't know. I don't think it ties into the Pokemon Go mobile game, but
Maybe.
it looks, yeah, maybe it looks interesting. So here it is right here. There, trailers going for it on the screen here. But
yeah. If you're watching the screen, the game essentially, if you're not watching, the game looks like a modern day Pokemon Stadium, which is, I think, what a lot of people want, right? Because we don't have anything like that. And Pokemon Stadium was only able to do that because there was 150 Pokemon, which is already a lot. But I mean, now, like I said, I don't know the current Pokemon count. I'm actually going to check that out right now. But I believe it's 900.
And see in the trailer they show the two kids battling like we used to do when we were kids. So I think that's kind of what the feeling they're trying to bring back with this one.
Yeah, according to a quick Google search, there are 1,025 Pokemon right now. Like, there's just that the resources needed to make a game where they all look good is insane. So I'm very curious about Pokemon Champions.
Are they still featuring all of the Pokemon in every game? I wonder.
I know Pokemon Scarlet Violet had like at least 250, if not 400 or 500, I think, or something like that. That's why these games run like trash, right? Like, you just can't make a game great where 500 different like objects are moving around in groups of like 6, right? All doing different animations when you have a 2-year development cycle, right?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be creating better graphics. But I will say Pokemon Champions does look cool. Will I play it? Because it's going to be mostly, it seems like a mobile game, but maybe on Switch. Well, it shows Switch, so it's probably on there too. I don't know, right? Like, I don't play another one that we'll probably discuss, the Pokemon trading card game, mobile game. I like turned it on to like open my free cards every day. But it is, it's not something like I go to often, right? Like, I just don't care about it. So I might turn this one on to check it out just because it looks really cool. But I also have no interest in just like battling strangers online and Pokemon stuff. Like, I mostly like going and collecting them and doing the story and things like that. What else stood out to you? Because honestly, to me, it was I didn't watch it because most of these are pretty boring. So I mostly saw that Pokemon Champions and Legends ZA, which is about pizza, by the way. That's why they call it ZA. You get to choose your favorite pizza at the end of the game. Noticing that we have some cards coming into the picture, and one of these people on this podcast, he hates trading cards. He hates physical media. I won't reveal him. That's why we call him the despised one. But he cannot stand any physical media, and he would rather die than sell it.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah, well, let me ask you guys this. All right, when is the last time you bought a pack of Pokemon cards? Like, when in your memory do you remember going in and physically buying a pack of cards for yourself, for your own collection?
I was 10 years old.
10. Okay.
For myself
27
or
years
for
ago.
my daughter, because my daughter is semi into it. We were Pokemon A to Z. We were talking about that the other day about is she into it? And she says it does look like a little bit upgrade on the graphics, but like you, she had issues with how it ran on the Switch, so she is like on the fence on whether or not she wants to commit to that. But she occasionally collects the cards, and I'm buying them for her if that's the case. So
does she still collect them today? Like, did you go to Target last week and buy some cards, or
no? This was something like last year, and just like it's like a once or twice a year type deal. It's not something that she invested in. It's although hindsight's 2020. I mean, Pokemon. If you're a reseller out there, it's a huge marketplace right now with very high profit potential at this point in time.
So let me tell you about this. All right. So when we were kids, right, you could go to Target, buy a booster pack of Pokemon cards for $5, right? You could buy a booster box for anywhere from 75 to 90, depending on where you were to buy them. Nowadays though, all right, so they come in sets. Like right now are expansion sets. They're on Scarlet and Violet, and Scarlet and Violet alone has had 9 different releases, right? So and a few other one like specialty series that came out within that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different booster boxes of cards with some like special editions you can get. These booster boxes now, because ever since Surging Sparks came out, because Surging Sparks, like the most valuable card they have there is, if you get it graded at a PSA 10, it's worth $1,076.
Wait, what? From the new pack? They
From
have
the
one
new
that's
set.
worth
So
$1,076?
yeah, this right here, right? This is the Surging Sparks packs. So
Yeah.
I bought a booster box of these at the last convention we did for $250.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So this should be a standard cost of about 100, anywhere from 90 to 112. This is how much booster boxes used to cost. But Surging Sparks came out and sent the market skyrocketing incredibly high. So now you can get a booster box of this for about $250 to $300 for 36 packs. In these packs, though, there is like I said, there's a Pikachu ungraded. Just the card by itself is worth around $383, and this is based on price charting's aggregates of eBay. Things are selling on eBay. And if you have a PSA 10, the last one went for $1,076.35.
Are you like opening these things? Are you going to open one on this show?
I'm
Is
going to
this an
open
unboxing?
one right now. I'm going to open this.
Okay,
pack
guys, we can
of cards,
pause this
all right?
video. We need to mainline this jank. This is the important part. This is the Pokemon unraveling.
Here we go. Surging Sparks sealed pack.
Big money.
Here we go. Keeping our fingers crossed for this Pikachu EX 238.
Okay.
All right.
Get this guy his $1 million.
Pop it open here. All right. Let's see.
Okay.
Sorry, you can't really see. All right. There you go. Pulling the cards out.
Oh, there's a guy. There's the Donald Trump card.
I'm not going to do the fancy split thing that they do. All right, so here is a.
Oh no, it's not that guy. It's not the guy with the
Stunfisk.
The Trump hair.
All right, here we have a. Can you see that? What's her name?
Shellos. Oh, I love that.
All right, here is a. What is that?
I can't see it. Can you read it to us, Def?
Den.
Oh, everybody loves the Den. That's our favorite character.
Okay, here's a Mankey. We all know Mankey from the original base set.
Give me 10 of those for $5 million, please. I'll pay.
We have a. Okay, so one thing to notice too about these ones is if you look, they no longer have like the. Remember, it was over on this side, right? Yeah, they had the star diamond circle. Now it's over here, and it's mixed in with like the set number there. So you see, it says SSPEN, so that's Surging Sparks right there is what that stands for.
Also stands for Spencer.
Yeah.
Some guy named Spencer, he made those cards. So
here we go. Deduction kit.
How many cards are in one pack?
10 cards.
Oh, I thought it was 5. Okay.
10 cards. All right. We have Altaria.
Do you know any of these? I know Mankey. That's like the only guy I've seen.
Okay, and so here
I know the ones that make a lot of money.
Yeah. So the newer cards have what's called reverse holo on them. So
that's cool.
You don't have the picture, a holograph in the picture. You have the holographic background, so you can see that's shiny a little bit.
And what's it called? Cap something? Capsakid?
Capsakid. Yeah.
Okay. Is it just like the same as Caterpie or whatever the caterpillar character was?
It looks like a plant-based Pokemon of some type.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we have another one. We have a Glimmet reverse holo.
Glimmet reverse holo. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Can you sell these for anything? Like, do you have a binder that you keep them in? Like, what do you do?
No, so a lot of these I'm actually sending off to get graded. So here we have a Kilowattrel EX. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick search here on the value of this one. Let's see. So this is an EX card, and here we go.
It's $1 million.
Yeah,
$1 million. What is a Charizard original hologram version 1 worth nowadays?
I don't know. Hold on. I'll look. All right, so PSA, if it has a PSA 10, like if it's graded and it's out of 10, it's worth $40.
Oh, okay, $40.
So
That's
I mean, you
good.
can technically buy a booster box now, and if you get all the cards graded, like assuming you pull them all out of the pack and ship them directly to PSA, you know, you could the box pays for itself several times over.
Yeah, but how much does the grading cost and all that stuff?
So you have to do a minimum of 20 cards, and it's like 50. I want to say it's like $12 to $15 per card.
Whoa. Okay, then it definitely doesn't pay for itself because you have to get like a
Well,
lot of those cards.
Think about it though. You have 36 packs, and you get a
Yeah.
card in there. If you get even any one of the big hitters, that's going for $500 or $600. Like
Okay.
it does, you know, has the potential. Let me say, to pay for itself.
But $12 per card, you're saying though, right?
Yeah.
So that means if it's $15, so you said 12 to 15. So we'll go to the high end, right? 15.
Right.
And you have to do 20. That's $300 minimum. So yeah, if you get one of those biggies, you're good. But if you don't get any of those biggies, then you're not going to make any of your money back. Do you know, can you at least know the ones that are going to be valuable before you send them the 20 cards so you're not just wasting tons of money on
if you go on
cards?
price charting, here, let me see if I can show you.
Pricecharting.com. It's great, great place.
And they know Pokemon cards over there? Sorry, that's
they know Pokemon, video games. Yeah.
I mean, your Concours is probably worth what now, Gerald? 2 million or 3?
Okay. Oh,
Concours worth 2 million pesos?
Yeah.
Did you talk about?
Let me do this over again.
Gerald, how many houses are you gonna buy with that Concours game, man? You just keep sitting on it. You're using it as down payment.
Are you talking about like the Monopoly? Are you talking like the little Monopoly plastic houses?
Okay. So here, look, here's the Charizard, right? If you have a first edition Charizard and it's graded PSA 10, the last one sold for $270,000.
Yeah. Wait, how many?
The last one, if it's a PSA 10 perfect 10 card, the last one
$270,000.
Yeah.
My lord, man. I mean, you sell a few of those, you can buy a house, man. That's crazy.
Even ungraded, look, $3,000 right here.
Wow. Well, that person was dumb for not grading it, man.
I'm gonna go up here. Yeah, right. And I'm gonna put it. But when you're a kid, how would you know that they're gonna be worth this much? Like a lot of the people who have these holographics here, they're all scratched up in the background. So I'm gonna go up here and put Surging Sparks, right? So I can look up. I can click on the here it is. This right here. And it'll show all the cards from that set. So this will tell me when I'm opening the packs which cards I'm looking for. So look. This Pikachu right here, this is the holy grail in this pack, right?
That's what you want.
PSA 10, yeah, is worth over $1,000, right?
Okay.
PSA 10 on Latias. So this is where you open the packs and you ship them immediately off to off to get graded. But even ungraded, this Pikachu is going for $383. So that would pay for the box. Just having this one card, but it's all a risk though. You never know what you're going to get in these boxes. So, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So grade 9, like, what does that mean? What's the difference between a grade 9 and grade 10? Like, if your kids touch it, is it immediately dropped to like a grade 8 or something? Or like, what happens?
It all depends on like fingerprints and little tiny scuffs on the back. Or the corners bent? Like,
Dude, why don't you open it with gloves then, man? Like, if I were you, I'd be like,
need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a risk. And that leaves me like as a seller. We have a hard time getting, even our distribution has raised the cost of Pokemon cards, and we have a hard time getting them. But it leaves me now to think like, do I want to open these boxes or do I want to sell the packs? Because even like, if I were to sell packs out of this box that cost me $250, I'd have to sell them at $10 a pack, and that who's going to pay that price for them?
What can you get them for at Target?
Target has raised. Okay, so. Interesting news came out. So GameStop is no longer going to be selling Pokemon cards online.
Oh, okay.
Target and Costco some locations are no longer even going to be selling Pokemon cards because there has been like a lot of violence broken out over the fact that people want these Pokemon cards.
Just look at Venezuela, man. That was all about Pokemon cards.
Even more than eggs.
I know, it's crazy, man. Even like during COVID, it got really bad. But
you need Pokemon cards to live. You don't need eggs, Gerald. Everybody knows that.
Get your priorities right.
They're fighting over at Costco.
You
just
idiot.
like that Pokemon.
You don't need food to live. Have you ever heard of Pokemon cards? They're all the nutrition you need. You just get those. You go to Taco Bell, you eat your plastic, and then you're happy.
And that's
okay.
But Yeah, anyways, like the game has changed a lot since we were kids. Like the collecting Pokemon cards in general is so much different from when we were little. Like they're so hard to get. There's so much money. Like if you can't be just a little kid collecting Pokemon cards anymore. Like you have to have 2 full-time jobs in order to be able to afford this hobby.
And you got to steal them from kids. My main
And you
plan for
gotta
the
steal-
Pokemon
yeah.
cards is
Yeah,
I wait
exactly.
outside Target for those little kids with the dumb ones because they don't know what they're worth. And then
Yeah.
you grab their cards. It's like stealing candy from a baby. Well, this has been very informative. We have learned a lot about Pokemon cards, which is why we started this podcast to begin with.
Exactly.
We started this podcast with the intention of discussing Pokemon adjacent things, even though I don't think any of us really play. But this actually is pretty cool. I didn't know anything about this. I thought Pokemon cards were like dead, man. I thought nobody cared really about them.
Yeah.
But yes, my bros, is there anything else you want to add? I know we went a little bit longer than we intended today, but we talked about a lot of great spicy news and some of the games we've been playing. Do you guys have anything else you want to bring on before we start getting to our next week, where I'm sure you guys are going to be ready to either talk Split Fiction or Assassin's Creed Shadows is only 2 weeks away.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see about the economic issues with tariffs and all that. How that's going to affect the game industry here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I've been really curious about that. Yeah.
So, I don't know how it's going to affect it because, okay, if it's just discs or DVDs or Blu-rays involved as far as that go up, then just buy digital. Or,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to affect as far as systems where they're made at, China, Korea, what have you. I was talking with the chat on that, so I don't know exactly how that's going to work out. So I think that's something we need to gauge and see. But I do want to go ahead and have discussion. I talked about it with Josh when we talked about the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Star Wars,
stepping down.
Yeah, at the end of the year, whether it's forced or whether it's fact that she's 71 and probably wants to retire at the end of the year. We'll see.
Hi ho, the witch is dead. Which witch? The wicked witch.
Again, some people are very happy about it. Some people are not. In it, the results speak for themselves.
Who's not? Honestly, though, who's not? Because she's been the head of a very failing. I don't want to place all the blame on her, but them.
I'm not going to go there, my friend. Again, the dollar results and the ratings results speak for themselves. And
I'm not even talking about like the political thing. I'm talking about like the fact they dumpster fire dropped.
But yeah,
for
every successful thing they've done, there's like one or two things that have tanked alongside it. So,
and for me, like
you got a good point.
I've always thought about like the quality of products, right? Like I'm just somebody who creates art myself. And like, even though I've never been successful financially, when you do flood a market with things, it's never going to be a positive reaction. And, you can't just blame her because it's been Disney's MO for like the last, 6 years or whatever since Disney Plus. But it hasn't been a good strategy. For every one hit they have 5 misses. Like for every
that's why people are petrified at what Amazon's going to do to James Bond.
It's going to be the same as Disney.
They want to do a streaming show of James Bond. What in the world, man?
James Bond reality show, James Bond the dating show, Bond the James Bond, Bond the cartoon. There you go.
I want a James Bond locking lips with every single dude that he sees. Okay, so as long as they give me all of those James Bond shows that get him on that show dating those other men, I'm there for it. So James Bond dating dudes.
Well, there you go.
Xbox,
but no, I want to. Well, actually, before I want to go into what Xbox was saying is, I wanted to go ahead and we need to discuss. The fact is when these games are being sold and marketed, should they be still being marketed and these old names from the past be marketed to us anymore? Because we are no longer at our age the buying majority audience at this point in time. And we talked about this with Star Wars. Who should they actually market their future to in Star Wars? They should market to people under the
generation, the up and coming generation for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like Josh's kids. They're exactly the target for next Star Wars. For games that are coming out, the Fortnite generation, they don't care about what's went on in previous generation or Tony Hawk or whatever old IP that you dig up. But again, that's a longer conversation
Yeah.
for another day. But I really want to have it in regards to what the future of the industry should be.
And I will say, as somebody who works with children literally all the time, the kids seem to like episodes 1 and 2 and 3, the prequels that George Lucas made. Every child I've talked to, those are their favorites. Some of them like 4, 5, and 6. I've not met one kid who likes 7, 8, 9, who likes Andor, who likes The Acolyte, who likes whatever, right? The only ones that kids ever bring up is Mandalorian and episodes 1, 2, and 3. They like anything with Yoda, right? So if Disney and Lucas were smart, they would just do a Yoda-styled Star Wars show, right? Like a Chewbacca's family in the Star Wars Christmas special, but just all Yoda people. And it'll be Yoda, and what's the Yanzel or Yando? What's the female
I
Yoda?
don't remember. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Yandel. I want Randall with a Y. But no, I appreciate JSJ and Xbox Game Studio for hanging out with us. We are now on Instagram. If you go on Instagram, Super BS Gamescast. And if anybody wants to write in, we used to try to do this back in the day. Our email is superbsgamescast@gmail.com. We're there, guys. We're going to be doing clips. We're going to be doing it all. We want to find people who may actually like this show. And it's been fun sharing all this gaming and Pokemon news with you guys. And now our show is mostly going to be about opening Pokemon packages. So, Jank, I hope you have the funds to buy about 100 of those.
Look what we did. Yeah.
We are changing.
So what's up for next
pivoting.
week? Or when's Assassin's Creed coming out this month before
middle.
it gets delayed again?
Yeah, before it gets delayed. It's supposed to come out, I think, in 2 weeks. So next week.
Okay, because I see the ads already.
Oh yeah, they're doing better. I want to say I started seeing ads for South of Midnight, which is April Xbox game. So I started seeing those. So that's good. All the previews came out for Claire Obscure Expedition 33, that game that's not Xbox
People
specific.
saying that game is spectacular.
I can't wait, man. I'm pretty excited. It's a Game Pass game. It's $50 if you want to buy it on PC or PS5 or Xbox, even though it'll be part of Game Pass. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up. We have a bunch of other hidden cool topics we'll do if it's a slow news week, right? We've been really blessed, #blessed, that there has just been nonstop news for a while, and there's been a lot of fun games. But because we didn't hop onto Monster Hunter Wilds, and I am running out of Gangplank on Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, we will probably be doing some cool topic-y shows here soon.
Are
so
you
if you guys
really? Are you really running out of stuff to do
Well,
in Yakuza? Really?
I mean, it doesn't feel like it. I'm hoping I'm running out of stuff.
I've watched a few videos. There's a hell of a lot to do on that game.
That game. So the funny thing is, it's like it is a side content game. It's supposed to be the smallest one they've ever made. If I finish it before 30 hours, man, I will be blown away because like I'm not even doing the what are those, the poker and show. What's the Japanese chess style game that's in all of them? Do you guys remember?
No. And then there's the Sega games.
Yeah.
All the Sega arcade games in there.
So I bought all the cartridges because you buy the Sega cartridges to play them. I haven't turned them on at all. I did do the darts because you have to get... So there's also people you recruit to your pirate ship, and then you can level up all those people through pirate battles. There's a lot. It's a lot. Yes, Xbox Game Studio. It is ultra dope. But yes... We should, if you guys have anything cool to bring up, let us know. Otherwise, we've got some Nintendo-y stuff to talk about before the Switch 2. We've got some gaming stuff down the pipeline, and obviously next week we'll go a little bit deeper. Hopefully we're playing Tony Hawk 3+4. If that comes out tomorrow, I'll be buying it immediately. Yeah, Tony Hawk 7. They already made one, but they're just going to make a
Shogi is
7.2.
Thank you,
Shogi.
Xbox Game Studio.
Thank you. Yes, I was racking my brain when you meet the cat who wants you to dress up in makeup. There's a Shogi
Isn't it cool
dude on this side.
to be Tony Hawk though? You skateboarded, became a top level skateboarder, and then you just sold out your name at the right time, at the right place, and you are still making money off it today.
That's the dream, man. That's why I've been practicing on my boards every day because I'm a young, hip kid, okay? I'm hoping by the time I'm 21, I will be able to pull off a 360. Okay, bros. We're going to head out for the day. Have fun. Let's go.
Peace.
Super BS.